Hi everyone, it's Nicola Burton from Music Means Business, and today I have with me Mark Colvin from the Pushworth Group and from Our House Productions. How are you, Mark?
Good. Yourself, Mickey?
Good, considering we're still in lockdown. We wanted to have a little chat today about social media for music brands. And Mark and I, as you know, if you're working with the Pushworth team, we are the main advocates, the chief advocates for getting you guys happening with your music brands, with your digital assets and your social media engagement. And after a couple of years of running workshops, and I guess let's just be honest, we're nagging, we're still finding that the adaptation to a full social media life for a music brand isn't happening. So we thought we'd talk about why that is.
I think it's a good conversation to have too. It's because I think for so many people, there's going to be so many different reasons, whether it be, content, whether it be I'm scared, whether it be I don't want my personal information being out there, which is sort of the line that I sit on. There can be some very, very private people out there. I happen to be one of them. I don't like everything that I'm doing in my life sort of splayed out into the world for all to see. So I suppose from my end, and it's probably bad of me to be the one preaching and chasing all this stuff and constantly nagging people for photos and that sort of gear, and not really having my standard up to where it should be.
So let's talk about that. So you've got a number of DJs in your stable.
Yes.
And it's so challenging to get current photos, current digital assets of your guys. So let's talk about why that is.
Generally, the major excuse that I sort of hear a lot of the time is that, the music industry or, the DJing or the live scene, whatever it is, happens to be the second job. They have a main job, they work 9 to 5, and generally by the time that they've finished a day's work, the last thing in the world that they want to do is have a photo shoot organised or blah, blah, blah. Obviously with bands, it'd be a little bit different trying to get 4 or 5 people in the same spot at the same time, especially if they've all got day jobs as well. So I can sort of understand, I can understand the issue. I can understand the problems that people have. I'm trying to work through them myself at the moment and try and get that digital footprint, a lot more noticeable as it should be. Because as we know, as we said just the other day, purely through booking, having a product that is 100% digital ready is just so much easier to sell to a venue because they're getting a return as far as social media and that sort of stuff goes. So it's critically important and probably time to crack the whip.
Well, look, anyone out there who relates to what Mark says, you've got a day job, you're too busy, you've got a family, you've got 4 or 5 band members in different places, you're just running between your day job, your wife and your gig life. It's been virtually impossible. And so I guess the challenge that we've got is that venues, promoters, event managers, they can't really promote a show unless they've got current assets. So not something from 20 years ago, 10 years ago, or even 2019. They're looking for current assets. And so what a lot of marketing managers are doing is they're trolling through Instagram to try and find photos. But that in itself is not necessarily great because they might be using personal photos. So we just
not the best photos.
Exactly. So, what we'd like to encourage you, we know the challenges because Mark is living it. He knows.
Sorry.
And so now that we've got this lockdown time, use this thing. Everyone's got one. And take as many photos as you can with different backgrounds. So you can see Mark's background right there. See what's behind him? So probably not a background like that. Mine, too busy as well. So try and get just, if you've got a green screen, use that, or just a white background is great. And just try and get different looks, different outfits, different, try and imagine what would appeal to you to go to a gig. And I think if anyone's been to any of our social media workshops, we had a few practice runs of photo shoots, which was really helpful. But Mark, what can we do? I'm going to put you on the line right now. What can we do to get DJ photos from you? And let's talk about how we can help everyone else who's struggling with the same thing.
How to get them? That's probably the key question, I think. Look, I suppose one of the excuses at the moment, time, is blown clean out of the water.
Yeah, all the time.
We've got nothing but time.
Yeah.
I can understand that we are still somewhat locked down. We can't move around too much. But I mean, that just to me says, well, get creative. Surely somewhere around your house there's a spot somewhere where you can take a photo that looks pretty decent or at least semi-good. And let's be honest, everyone's got an iPhone or an Android or, a Samsung or whatever these days. At a bare minimum now, you're sort of looking at a 12 megapixel on up camera. And that's if you've got that set on original settings, that is a really good quality shot.
Mm-hmm.
Now, getting said photos from the acts, I suppose persuasion's going to have to come in a little bit. It's very hard sometimes to get the value of what people are actually doing across to people. Some people don't quite see their own value, whether it be as a DJ or a solo act or a band or whatever. Getting across to people that, your brand actually does matter. You are out there in the world and it's, you want your brand to look the best. It's going to be tough, but I'm sure we can get there.
That's where your whole brand story comes into play. And as Mark said, if you don't really know what your value is as an artist, you don't know the story that you're telling, you don't really understand what your POD is, your point of difference in the market is, what your USP, your unique selling point, you won't really understand how to take those photos. And that's why Pushworth is offering complimentary mentoring sessions during lockdown, myself or Michael or Mark or Manny, where we will take you through our meticulous process, our Music Means Business process, and help you to discover what your actual brand story is and give you some ideas about how to take these photos, even in lockdown. So, that's one thing that we're trying to do to encourage you, because once you've got those photos, and also if you understand what your brand story is, then content on social media it's too easy because you actually know what you've got to talk about. Otherwise, you're like, hands up, how boring is it just to see the same photo every week with, DJ Trademark playing the Oxford 152. I mean, it's just the same old.
Hey, and it's very, very easy to fall into that habit of going, hey, at least I've got a poster up, at least I've got something showing. And that does have its merits. At least you are actually doing probably the most important part of the gig, which is actually advertising it and letting your social media fans and friends know that, you're doing something, you're up to this at this point in time. But as you said, it can get very stale very, very quickly. There's only so long that one photo can go, whether in its particular format. So it's, having that swath of various photos available, various ideas, it just makes such a difference in the grand scheme.
Yeah, so contact us, business@pushworth.com. If you want some assistance with your brand story, if you're a Pushworth artist, contact us and we'll set up some Zoom mentor calls and we'll help you to get that content, get that brand story, help guide you towards the kind of photos that you need, so that when we start then talking about the specific social media interaction, you've actually got some juice to work with. So,
ready to go.
Yeah. All right, Mark, it was good to talk to you, my friend.
Always a pleasure, Nikki.
And we'll
see you on the other side.
We'll see you on the other side.